Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another interesting, educational, and fun show with Ask Dr. Andy. Good morning, Dr. Andy. How are you,
Hey,
buddy
hey,
boy?
how are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. This is actually episode number 15, and all the comments and
Wow.
statements by Eddie Buffalo and Dr. Andy are purely for entertainment purposes. So I let Dr. Andy pick our sponsor this morning, and because he travels so much, we're going to talk a little bit about Ramble Office Anywhere. It's one of our sponsors. Um, Pick out something you want me to look at the products, the resources. What do you want me to look at, Andy?
I I just think it's a wonderful product in
Mm-hmm.
general because I have to travel. You can't bring your computer with you. And in this day and age, without a computer, you're pretty much non-functional. And they set it up where you can just walk in and in 5 minutes, you can open up and have your office ready to go.
Yeah, I
Wherever
mean,
you are, not using somebody else's computer, not worrying about the hotel's facilities. You can walk in and you're a go.
don't let the price scare you away, folks, because if you look at what included, two 24-inch monitors, keyboard and mouse, 1080p webcam, 7-in-1 USB-C hub, a power outlet, patented carrying case, and reinforced trunk. Now, what's nice, Andy, is that all of that fits in one side of the trunk, and the other side you could be actually for your clothes.
It it is an appealing product. It's one of the things that we sponsor that really speaks to me
Mm-hmm.
as a person who travels to do my job.
And that's important because I know there's a lot of sponsors on here that we like a lot. Pins and Aces, that's everybody's favorite. And because I could see it from the sales. But if you're on the go and you hate dragging 10 million things, because I know when I travel, Andy, between
Mm-hmm.
my suitcase, and my satchel that I have, it's heavy. I'm tired at the end of the day carrying all that stuff around airports and that. And to make your life easier, I'm all about that because who needs friction in their life? And if you like what we're talking about with Ramble Off Anywhere, number one, you can go to rambleofficeanywhere.com, check everything out that they have. And once you decide to buy what you need, you can use promo code Buffalo
Buffalo.
and for an additional 5% off. And watch because they do have specials all the time. So check out our friends at Ramble Office Anywhere, like Dr. Andy says, making your life easier. So, how you doing today, Dr. Andy?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing good. I will say that Dr. Andy almost fell through my window, so it scared the living hell out of me. You know,
Oh, clumsy me. What can I say?
I'm the guy that breaks stuff, Andy. You shouldn't. It shouldn't be you. All right.
Well, equal opportunity.
Now, I used to be a bigger man. I used to weigh 394 pounds. I had the bariatric surgery back in 2014. And my pressure was all over the place, up, down, because it was very high when I was heavy. And then I bottomed out a lot when I lost the weight because my doctor was having a hard time regulating everything. So strokes are something that really scared the hell out of me. My dad had a couple mild strokes, and but I also know family members that had to relearn how to uh, speak. Now, is Bell's palsy and in the same
No, it
thing
is
as
not.
that's what I was always curious
Okay,
about
no.
because yeah, I always saw the
Bell's
drooping with
palsy
that.
is a peripheral nerve problem. Stroke is a central nerve problem. I agree with you. Strokes are one of the things that scare me the most as an aging adult. Strokes and dementia and blindness, because with neurological injury like that, typically, if you lose it, you're not going to get it back or not going to get it back the way you had it before. There's two kinds of strokes generally. There's a kind where you bleed into your head. Those are typically catastrophic. Those are the people who have a terrible headache. They're vomiting.
Is that when you hear about the TIAs? Is that what we're talking about, or is that
No,
something different?
nope, that's something different. A bleed inside the head is a rapid stroke. They have a higher fatality rate. People are really sick, and typically they're very extensive and do not get better. The other kind of stroke is when you don't get enough blood someplace where you plug a vessel. Instead of popping a vessel, you plug it and kill the brain around it that blood vessel is feeding. Those are ischemic strokes. So you break it into bleeding and dry strokes where you plug a vessel. Typically, you're going to see the second kind of stroke most commonly. Most common cause is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, people who abuse substances like cocaine or methamphetamine. And
I have a couple questions, so keep on going. My head's
Mhm.
going. My head's going. I'm getting a lot of. Every time we do these shows,
Mhm.
as he's talking, I start thinking of things. So keep
And
on going.
strokes, there are a whole lot of different areas you can plug a vessel to. And when you plug that area, you'll get a bunch of linked deficits. You'll lose a bunch of things that are linked. Like people will lose strength in an upper and a lower extremity on one side and the ability to either process or speak, or people will lose continence, the ability to hold their urine. You'll get a bunch of different things depending where you block it. So you'll see these syndromes, and they're typically very debilitating, which is why defense is your best game with stroke. Maintaining good blood pressure, not smoking is incredibly important. Maintaining good cholesterol. If your doctor indicates that you need a statin, statins do two things with stroke prevention. Number one, cutting down the bad cholesterol. Number two, they stabilize the blood vessel lining, because the lining is where the action is when you plug something.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Dr. Andy's a very artistic guy. He does a lot of painting. I started to work on short stories, and I mentioned him. One of my favorite authors, a gentleman by the name of F. Paul Wilson. And unfortunately, about 2 years ago, Mr. Wilson had a stroke. And this poor guy has had to learn how to retalk, how to type, how to start from scratch.
It's devastating.
Mm-hmm. Now, how, I'm trying to phrase this the right way. I don't want to offend anybody. But what is your chance of living long after having a stroke? Is there more incidents of having more problems?
Typically, if you have one stroke, your likelihood is going to be greater to have more strokes. It's all like real estate: location, location, location. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, you can live a good long time post stroke. It's just you're going to be living with deficits. Things that you used to be able to do, you can't do anymore. And with abilities, who wants to give back the ability to speak? Who wants to give back the ability to hold their urine, to use their arms or legs, to feed themselves? Some people lose the ability to swallow, where they have to be worked around because otherwise everything that goes in their mouth ends up in their lungs. So you're giving back huge amounts of things, which is why I emphasize defense, defense, defense. Cigarette cessation, alcohol moderation or avoidance, blood pressure control, blood sugar control, cholesterol control, and as tolerated, regular, mild to moderate aerobic exercise. Those are the things you have to do to play defense, because it's all where the money is.
Now, one other thing that really scares the hell out of me, and it goes hand in hand with strokes, is aspirating.
That's what
Talk
I was talking
talk a
about.
little bit more about that.
Okay. Swallowing is really complicated. It's not just put something in your mouth and it goes down into your stomach. Our airway crosses over our swallowing pathway. So we have to coordinate when we swallow, we have to coordinate inside, close our epiglottis so that we don't have things go into our lungs and move things down. It's almost like a bucket brigade. So when you knock that out, or you knock part of it out, or cause it to be discoordinated or easily fatigued, you'll have your saliva and anything you eat or drink possibly going into your lungs and aspirating. You know, an aspiration, large aspirations can be fatal rapidly. Smaller ones are going to be very problematic in terms of infection and difficulty breathing.
Now, I don't know if you're going to believe this or not, but I know someone that aspirated broccoli and the
Mhm.
broccoli started growing in their lungs. Have you ever
That's
heard of anything crazy like
Oh
that?
no, that's entirely possible to aspirate some sort of a seed into a wet, environment. That's very atypical. Another time when people aspirate, you have way too much to drink and throw up. The traditional rock star exit, Jimi Hendrix, Bon Scott, John Bonham, they all aspirated vomit.
Or one of the many drummers from Spinal Tap that actually passed away from aspirating on somebody else's vomit.
I don't even want to know about that. My favorite part of Spinal Tap is the guy said, "I suffered for my art. Now you have to."
Okay, so we're sitting here, and you being a physician, it's a little bit easier for
Mhm.
you to pick up on it. What are you looking for if I am a stroke victim? And how much time do we have before there's permanent damage?
Okay. With an ischemic stroke, they're going to be looking for people who have droop in the face, extremity weakness, difficulty speaking, difficulty with an eye. And they have, it's a Cincinnati score, and the ambulance calls right in. And if you are a candidate, after they do the CAT scan and determine that it's less likely to be a bleeding stroke, because obviously you don't want to use a clot buster on somebody who's bleeding. That's usually a very rapid ticket to go to heaven. They can use a clot busting drug. Now, it's a very sharp double edged sword in that a certain percentage of people with the clot busting drug and a dry stroke, a stroke that's plugging as opposed to bleeding, will go on to bleed around the stroke and actually extend it. So it is a very complex, very difficult decision to make.
Now, I know in Buffalo,
Time is brain.
that's what I want to hear about.
The
What
sooner the better. There's a couple different envelopes of time, but typically past the 2 to 4 hour range, you're not going to have as good a result, but it's all time dependent. It's a time curve.
Because in Buffalo, I know for a fact for many years, the stroke center was Millard Fillmore Gates, and they closed, and now it's actually South Buffalo Mercy, which is great for my family and friends because they're from South Buffalo. But here's my question to you, okay? You have a hospital right around the corner. They're not a stroke center. And you have a stroke center that's 5 to 10 miles away. Where do you want your patient? Where do you want your family member to go, Dr. Andy?
I would go the nearest place because the first thing they need is a CAT scan before you do anything else, or else you don't know. First of all, is it a stroke? Is it a bleeding stroke or is it a quote unquote dry stroke, an occlusion? Then is the person a candidate? Is their blood pressure reasonable? Or are there medications that don't go with stroke busting drugs? Do they have another problem? Have they had a recent big bleed in their stomach or someplace else where you don't want to break up a stroke? Have they had a recent stroke where you're just going to bleed around it? It's very complicated.
Well, you brought up a good thing, not knowing if it is a stroke. What other things presents themselves like a stroke and it's not a stroke?
Okay. Tons. People can have a seizure. They can have an epileptic seizure and then be post seizure. It's called post ictal. They could have ingested something, alcohol, substance, toxin. They could have had a concussion. They could have Bell's palsy. There's a bunch. There's 45 items on the list at least. Those are the most common ones.
And so, what is the determining factor between it not being a stroke and being a stroke
CAT scan and clinical judgment.
by your physician, correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever been fooled on this stuff personally?
Personally, I've not been fooled as far as saying somebody's not had a stroke and they have. It's usually pretty cut and dry. Plus, I work with neurologists. You use your specialists there.
That's so scary. So, what's recovery looking like for people when they have a stroke?
Again, it's real estate, location, location, location. How big the stroke was, where it was, and when it was caught, if it was caught.
So, what are the signs that say I'm at the gym working out, or I'm just at home by myself? And there's a lot of people that live alone, and that is something that does scare me every once in a while. That if I do have a medical emergency, it's going to go bad quick.
Facial droop, change in vision, difficulty thinking clearly, extremity weakness.
Any dizziness or anything like that?
That can come with it typically, but dizziness is very non-specific.
Or like tunnel vision?
Visual change, like I mentioned, but basically, face, vision, extremity are going to take in most of the things. Difficulty speaking.
So this goes back to one of our other shows we did, how to stay alive. Okay. What are some good tips to try to not have a stroke?
Um, it's all defense. I hate to make it sound like we're playing basketball or football. You have to play defense. Number one, don't smoke. Number two, blood pressure control. Number three, diabetes and cholesterol control. And number four, getting good, regular, healthy, as tolerated and as permitted by your doc, aerobic exercise.
Now, my questions to you, I know obviously you can get a stroke from a high blood pressure. Can you
Low blood
also,
pressure, too.
that's what I was going to
Yes.
ask you, what does
If
that
I-
look like? Is it any
If I
different?
drop your blood pressure, it just makes sense. You need blood to deliver oxygen to your brain. I drop your blood pressure, you can't get blood up there. That's why when your blood pressure drops and you faint, first thing you do is you're going to fall because you're not getting blood to your brain. You're not going to.
That sounds like such a simple thing, but now
Mhm.
that you explained it that way, that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
no blood, no balance.
So when you almost fell through my window, you were having some issues?
No, I crossed my feet.
So I'm not giving you CPR, just so you know.
Okay. I'm not accepting it.
I would too. I would do that for my buddy.
He probably.
So with tongue or without tongue, just so I know.
Me or you?
Both.
Moving on, we're going to use a face mask.
A face mask, well, like from that movie Scream we were watching last night, something like that.
No.
Frankenstein.
I actually have one. I always have one in the glove box. It's a mask you put over somebody's face that gives you good skill when you do 2 quick press and then CPR as needed.
And I have to laugh because like last week, Andy stopped over. He was helping me when I first moved in. Like, you should put this here. It was there. And he goes, I have high blood. I have a pressure machine. Are you going to use it? And that's the thing. If you have all this preventative stuff and you have access to it and you don't use it, shame on you.
It all comes down to you. They sell good arm cuff blood pressure machines over the counter. You sit, you take your pressure after you've been seated for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Keep a record, you bring it to your doctor. That way he has a whole lot of data points when you don't see his white jacket and ugly face and feel all nervous. And you can best moderate your blood pressure that way. If you're a diabetic, you follow your diet, you take your medicines, you check your sugars, and bring the record to your doctor.
This is a great question for you, Dr. Andy, okay? Because I know my ex, she always had low blood pressure. And anytime, and even with me, because I have bigger arms, every once in a while, they'll have trouble getting a good reading, and then they'll do it manually.
It's
What's
all
the
cup
difference?
size. It's all cup size. You have to have a cup that has a measurement on it that your arm fits in. If you put a little cup on a big arm, you get an artificially high pressure. You put too big a cup on a little arm, the opposite, you get a low blood pressure. So you have correct cup size. The gold standard is a blood pressure performed with stethoscope and cuff. That is the gold standard. The machines, though, are pretty darn close if used correctly. The one machine that does not correlate as well, the wrist.
Now, this is something I've asked you on a show before because, as you see, I try out stuff from TikTok. I have.
I've not seen data to endorse it.
That's what I want to ask you. So
I've not seen data to endorse it.
and let's see what my health ring says my pressure is, and see what
Yeah,
Dr. Andy says
I'll
about
go
that.
with your mood ring as being more accurate. Again, I need to see that it is equivalent data-wise, and I've not seen that data yet.
115 over 75. What do you think about that?
Who knows? But the way I look at it, if it's something that's going to change my life for the worse,
Yeah.
I am going to use the most accurate way of measuring it, which is seated with an arm pump.
Yeah, because I mean, like a lot of these, don't get me wrong, I like gadgets, you know, and I like
They're
it.
wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
For the
You could
company
do,
that sells.
and you know, if it makes you feel better, you can do it. But I wouldn't take it as gospel for what Dr. Andy's saying.
I'll go with an arm cuff, seated for at least 5 to 10 minutes. No cigarette within an hour.
Now, I take my blood pressure medication twice a day. How quick acting is that?
It depends on the medicine. Some
Is
are
it the
faster
medicine
on
or the
board.
person too?
It depends on the medication. Some are faster on board, some are slower on board. And that doesn't make them better or worse. It just makes them different, and they'll have different uses.
Now, are all blood pressure medication, is that oral? Is it injectable? Can you drink it?
They have transdermal, oral, and injectable, of course.
Now, let me ask you this, Dr. Andy, and I might be wrong. Was it for heart attacks or for stroke victims where they want you to have aspirin right away? That's what they used to do.
If the person is having a stroke and you don't know if it's a bleeding stroke, you probably don't want to just empirically give them aspirin. See if you can make them bleed a little more.
That's a good point, especially if they're on something like a blood thinner already. You might really push them off the cliff there, you know.
Things that you need: number one, quick access and evaluation; number two, an accurate list of what they're allergic to and they're taking; and number three, just a reasonable thumbnail past medical history.
Now, what's your feelings on everybody knowing CPR?
I'm all for it, because you have a certain amount of time when you have downtime, somebody's not perfusing before you start filling brain.
I actually had to use it twice in my life. Once was at brunch at a Ponderosa when Ponderosas were a thing back in Western New York.
It would probably make me do this.
And pay attention when they're doing the infant CPR, because I actually had to use infant CPR one time, which was it was terrifying, but seeing that baby come back to life in my arms was like, oh my gosh, thank God I did that. You know, thank God I had the knowledge to do it.
Yeah.
You know. So okay, I'm 58. Screw you, Dr. Andy. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna drink my beer. I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna do a little marijuana. You know,
Security.
and I don't like going to doctors. Doctors suck.
Security for me.
So, somebody my age, I feel like I go to the doctor all the time. I said to the guy what you said. Maybe he's trying to buy a boat.
I really don't think so. Anyway,
Anywho,
moving right along.
What are the strangest things when it comes to stroke that we haven't talked about? What are we looking for that's out of the ordinary to look at symptoms?
I saw in the past a person where their only presenting symptom was vomiting and nausea. They had had a very small bleed that initially did not show on head CAT scan, and eventually we fought with MRI. It was such a tiny bleed, because head CAT scan will usually discern bleed right off the bat. I saw one of those that was just a little different where nausea, vomiting, and that was it. No peripheral symptoms, no visual symptoms, none of the other stigmata usually associated with a stroke.
The first thing I thought of is pregnant women that have morning sickness more 9 times out of 10. You know, have you ever seen where someone that is actually pregnant presents with a stroke?
Pregnant people get strokes. There's a whole bunch of different things that go on. Number one, blood pressures go up, their physiology changes, they are more prone to clots. There's a whole lot of risks of being pregnant.
And what are the risks to the baby?
Stroke, the baby's dependent on mom's health.
So, uh, so okay, this young girl, she's throwing up, she's sick, but you're thinking she had a stroke. Okay, how do you give the mom medication and it not affect the fetus? Are you guys like kind of like got your hands tied on that?
There's a lot of situations like that where you have to proceed very cautiously, and that's a little over my pay grade, quote unquote.
I kind of like that answer because, like I always tell everybody that works for me, including me and Donnie, if you don't know an answer,
if I don't know, my first answer is I don't know.
get a hold of somebody that has the
I
answer.
do know how to get help. That's the key thing. Know when you do not know, and ask for help.
And like I usually say, I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but I have to have access to the smartest guy in the room.
My mom always told me, anytime you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Now, is there any type of food that can trigger a stroke?
I'm trying to.
Obviously, if my diet is just chicken wings and animal fat.
Essentially, there's nothing that's going to acutely trigger a stroke. However, if you have a really horrible diet, your chances of having higher cholesterol, higher blood pressure, and diabetes are going to go up. So,
hey, we got to do another show on diabetes. That's another disease that scares the hell out of me. And like I was telling Dr. Andy one time, when I was a young man, I was a phlebotomist, blood sucker. And I would see some of these people.
So much.
I know. I would see so many people that every time they came back, I saw less of them. You'd start with the toes, the feet, up to the knee,
Diabetes
up to the
is
hip.
a miserable disease.
It's awful.
It attacks your small blood vessels, it attacks your large blood vessels, and everything I know of it that I want to keep is supplied either by both big or little blood vessels.
Well, believe it or not, Dr. Andy, we're at the end of another show. I hope that we gave you some information that you need, whether it's for you or a family member. It's interesting. I hope we were, entertaining and educational, which Dr. Andy does a good job explaining things. I learned stuff that I didn't know, and I thought I knew a lot. I didn't know nothing. No, but some stuff like we pretty much got an idea what we're going to talk about. There's always something that comes up either in my past or something that I find interesting. And
you've had an interesting past.
Yes. So please, and to comment if you have more questions. Let us know if you want us to do a follow-up to the stroke show, because we would love to do that.
If there are any topics that are of interest, I'm game to either speak about it. And again, I don't know everything. I'm willing to look, I'm willing to find, I'm willing to say, I don't know, this is where to look. I'm just a good starting point.
So once again, we're going to end the show like we end every other show. If you like working with people that are just like you, have the same values of you, have the same passion for life, and love your children as much as we do ours, we are definitely the people you want to be working with. You can reach us out at ebiagency.com, our beautiful website. You can also email us directly at eddiebuffaloinsurance@gmail.com, and the hotline is 716-541-4118. Until next week with Dr. Andy, thank you for being with us. And remember, life is definitely worth living. What do you got to do, Dr. Andy?
Just keep fighting.
Got to keep on fighting. Take care, everybody. Bye, Dr. Andy.